My why is because I believe every single person deserves to be heard. That every single person has greatness within them.
Hello, I am Kate McKay, and thank you so much for joining me to another episode of Master Your Life. I am very excited to introduce my guest for today, Elona Lopari. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kate. It's an honor to be here.
Yes, I love your name. I love saying people's names. There's magic in people's names. I just love it. Can't wait to dig into yours. Just a little bit about Elona before we get after it. Elona is the founder and CEO of the Life School. She's a speaker and also best-selling author to numerous books, award winner, show and speaking event organizer to an audience of over 30,000 purpose-driven, service-based entrepreneurs and corporations. Way cool. And you're a big connector. That's the one word that I would put around you as I know you. She supported 100 plus companies double and triple their impact and revenue through fractional and business management, operations, and HR services. I can keep going, but let's just get right on into it. So Elona, tell me a little bit about your journey here, because you actually, were you not born here? Is that right? In the United States?
That's
Yeah.
right. I moved to New York when I was only 15 originally I'm from Albania. So moved here with my parents, and that's kind of where my journey began towards chasing the American dream. And I say that in quotes, chasing the American dream, because that's what I thought I needed to do to be happy, to be fulfilled, to all the things that, well, I didn't know fulfillment, just to be successful, really. That was my blueprint.
Right, yes. That's the thing.
So.
Fulfillment's something that these American people kind of...
Yeah, now I'm into that. But back then, see, like you're taking me back to the older version of me, and I appreciate that. But yeah, for me, I was chasing the American dream to achieve success, because that was my blueprint to feeling love. I was praised very early for that, from especially my father. Cultural programming also. So that's been my inner work to heal a lot of that in the journey. But that was my initial beginning, kind of just getting me to the path to the corporation I worked for. I worked for a Fortune 500 corporation. I got my degree early on for business management and finance. And then I just climbed the ladder, the corporate ladder, because my mission was always like, okay, chase success. Like, what else is there that you could do? What else is there you could do? I could never rest in peace, so to speak, doing it obviously for the wrong reason, even though I received a lot of benefits from that, because I learned, I grew, and I exposed myself to so many things. I did HR, I did marketing, I did sales. My latest position was executive leader. So I did climb all the way to the top as a regional director, only to find out that at the mountaintop, I was more miserable than ever. And through that despair, I started to feel a lot of pain in my life, so to speak, from inner conflict, inner voice always guiding me and telling me there's something else, it's no longer a good fit for you. You got it. So there's meant for something bigger. And at that point, it didn't make sense, because I'm like, well, what else can I do from the outside?
I'm in New York.
Yeah, I'm in New York. I had my kids, I had my marriage, I met my husband early. So alongside that, I had also was building my family. So I had pretty much the white picket fence. We bought our home, we had our dog, I have 2 kids. I'm like, okay, check, 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 check. That's kind of what I thought I needed to have. And that's why I guess the pain in the journey just didn't make sense. But obviously now I know that it was there for a good reason, because I was being called to definitely something different and bigger. Even though I do appreciate I call them sort of like stones in the journey, so that I can overcome them. And that happened to be my biggest catalyst to finding my path, going into personal development, inner discovery, all the work that I'm so passionate about aligning with still the business and the leadership, because that's still a very strong gift that I have been handed. And I just discovered it through my experience. But yeah, that's how I got exposed to entrepreneurship, because it was a different type of blueprint. I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I felt like going and, the company, actually everything aligned. The company was bought by another company, values changed, profit was very profit driven, toxicity. I saw the silver lining. That was like, that journey was closing pretty much, voluntarily and involuntarily in many ways, because sometimes Our journeys are different, right? Some of us get their rugs pulled under from them, and some of us just go and have these awakenings on our own spontaneously. For me, it was a mix of both. So because I did that, I just stayed in something that I was no longer fitting me or serving me for too long. And I just kept pushing this away as much as I could, procrastinating due to fear. Well, I need to do that, and I should do that, and I should like pay for my kids to college, and I should do my 401k, like
Yeah,
all
I should.
typical
I should.
shoulds
So
and words.
take me
Yeah.
back, because I want to stay a bit more on the origin of you. So your parents came here when you were 15. What was their call here to the United States from Albania? And if you
Yeah.
mind just giving us a little rundown on the geography of Albania, that would be really cool. I love that.
I love your question. I've never been asked. I thought you never asked. So my father had a calling that he always had this vision that he just belonged in the US. I don't know if it's part programming, part, US has a good brand name, right? This is the most developed country in the world. A lot of opportunities, a lot of dreams that were shattered from his life, I feel like. And he just manifested that into, okay, now I have to give this back to my kids. I feel like just going through my linear journey and figuring out some of my family generational stuff that now I see so clearly. I think that's what it was. So that was leading him, the drive to not have any regrets for his kids, because he had a lot of personal regrets that Albania unfortunately could not provide for him because it was a small country. There's still not a lot of structures. It's a beautiful country, by the way. And I love that you asked me that question. We're blessed with nature. We have the mountains, we have the sea, we have all that is amazing in as far as geographical location and environment. However, we lack the right leadership. We lack the right people being in the right positions for the right reasons. Politics, obviously, is a broken system, even though there's been improvements over time and over the years. So that what's happened is that a lot of Albanians have emptied out the country. They've all ventured out, right? Trying to find ourselves, trying to find meaning, trying to build ourselves financially, all the areas that those are not available there, unfortunately. And I feel very called to contribute to that with my bigger mission eventually. But that's where the missing pieces were for my parents.
Well, you're from your home, from your earth home, like where you were born into. What was a memory? Could you share a memory, one of your favorite memories from Albania prior to 15? And it must have been a big shift for you. I mean, I can just imagine at 15, not just going to another school, but actually getting on a plane and leaving everything you knew. If you don't mind sharing a memory of Albania for you, personal memory, that would be really wonderful.
I love that you asked that. And I always thought that never really affected me negatively for some reason, because I think I was at the perfect age to still be curious. I think it's like the time is right there. I think if I was older, because now I see like a lot of, I attract a lot of people in similar journey that are coming from Albania here, and I meet them here and I talk about their experience and we share, right? And I'm like, oh, I came at the perfect time where I really felt like I was just like not hurt, not in pain. I was actually very excited. I'm like, oh, new stuff. Like, oh, I can explore more things. Like at the airport, like, the Brooklyn seemed like a big place. And I'm like, we're driving through Manhattan. And I remember just like looking up at the buildings. I'm like, oh my God, I love it here, So I just had that kind of just opening, I feel like, as soon as I just entered the country with the vibe that kind of I was going into the country. But back to your question, and I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, just like what a memory from your home, your birth home country. It's something you remember. It can be textural, like the smell of something or your favorite tree. I'm just curious about who you were then. How did you experience life then, Elona?
Oh gosh. So I remember one of the things I always go back to when I need to heal my inner child, because that's very, very recurring for me, is my little community. I grew up in a very happy community. We didn't have much. I lived in a building, but it just felt like so close. I had people that loved me, that looked out for me. I had friends. I was playing outside most of my day. I just remember going home just to sleep. And then I was in school most of the days. I don't remember much stuff inside the home. it was just mostly outside. So I love to be out, free spirit. We would make up our own little games, get creative. Like I even organized, like we would organize events. So I would just do like a fashion show event, which now I know why I love what I do, because I started to show a few signs of the things that I love to do today. I always like bringing people together. So I'm like
Were
always
you
bringing
bossy? Did
friends.
people tell you were bossy?
Yes, yes. I had a high ego for sure. I wanted to be the best, and I loved the center of attention and all eyes on me. So I think I was leading, obviously, at that immature level a lot from the ego part, which now I know the difference. Back then, I'm just like,
But it
yes.
was also your natural strength to organize and bring people together, because that's innately where you're brilliant now. The reason why I love that share so very much is I can just picture the little version of you now just doing the exact same thing. I think that a lot of the times as we evolve, we move away from the things that we were actually innately really naturally good at. And then somehow, some way, the journey back to our good is being that again, being the organizer of the neighborhood and connecting people and leading from the front because you were given the big enough energy and enough courage to do it, to say yes and be curious enough, and knowing that there was a higher vision for people, even if it was just in your little neighborhood.
Thank you for saying that. The meaning of my name is energy, and that follows me daily, like every day. So I've also recently gone through a spiritual awakening, and I've obviously had more insight as to why I do what I do. And it's exactly what I'm finding out. I'm not a new person. I'm just remembering who I really was. So there was a lot of things in my journey, such as that specific example that you asked me to share, that I feel like, yeah, those were the things that I felt compelled to do then, and I still feel compelled to do today. That's why my visions and my intuition was strong then, and it's stronger, obviously, today. I had a very good sense of inner knowing. Like I always knew, and I always saw before it's seen. So I always knew before other people heard it. So those were my two main strong guiding lights
Yeah,
that were
tuned
like so
in.
consistent for me. And they just, it's like my light that I hang on when the going was tough and there was noise and confusion and felt like I was falling and then getting up and all the other ups and downs of life that I've gone through, which I love. I mean, I can imagine having a linear like
No, I don't think you and I are
journey.
not
So
here to be one of those status quo people. So, what would your younger version of you, the free, crazy, wild hair, and just full of herself and confident, what would she tell the Elona that's sitting here in front of me? What would her words be to you?
you should have always trusted your inner strength.
Mm. And is there anything that you would say to her?
I got goosebumps because
I
I'm
know
past
it's
feels.
beautiful. And what would you say to her back?
Now I see you. Now I hear you. Now I see you
Mm.
fully.
Is she with you now, that version of you?
Always.
Mm. How wonderful. Well, she's quite a beauty and quite spirited. I'm just so grateful. It's this type of story. I have goosebumps because I love to see that version of you, because it's just like all of a sudden when you bring people to that place, they just become like soft and they're just like, yeah, that's who I am. It's the true confidence, isn't it? Of the knowing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm in my light at that moment, and you just help me, help guide me there, and I appreciated that. And that's also now my mission, to be able, through my gifts and my experience, to be able to light that up in other people and help them heal. Because through my spiritual awakening, even though I do it through the channels that I'm the strongest at, which is business and leadership, I find that my mission is to guide them through what I've learned and share what I think helped me. I also feel very strongly around the piece of inspiring other people, even though my ego a lot of times is put me down on that because I'm like, who am I to inspire? Who am I to teach? Because I feel a calling around teaching and sharing and guiding others and all of that, and the healing part.
Is it your voice or is it someone else's voice telling you that you're too much?
Yeah, someone else's voice for
Yeah.
sure.
Isn't it crazy? And they could even be dead and we still give them benefit, which is just crazy, isn't it? Once we're aware of that, it's absolutely mind blowing. To this day, it's absolutely mind blowing. It's so good. So you talk about this evolution of your mission. Has your mission statement changed for you as far as how you're living your life now?
I love the question. I think my mission just gets clearer every day. My purpose just gets clearer every day. I'm still under the same channels that I'm strong at, which is business and leadership keeps coming up for me, and the speaking. So I realized that my 3 pillars that I always lean on, which is my gifts that I came here with to be able to utilize those as a channel to healing, is always first has been leadership, second has been speaking, then third is business. So somehow they connect to, and they always show up for me everywhere with everything I do. So these 3 are the 3 pillars, like the 3 lights that always guide me towards the mission of serving others, service and healing other people.
That's great.
So that's what I see very clearly, even where I'm sitting now, and with the eyes that I have now, and the ears and the feels and all the 5 senses, which are very, very developed at this moment. So
right. The depth of you. So you're almost bringing your whole self into the work in a different way. And it's interesting because, Elona, I've talked to you before and I feel like I'm seeing a very different person, which is so wild. I mean, it's just, this is the magic of life, isn't it? That how we show up and how we evolve. And it's so super, super powerful. So when you're speaking to businesses, what I would love to do is I'd love to dig into a little bit on what it means to lead. And particularly, as you say, leading through all the 5 senses. What is that for you, leadership or to lead? How do we help people with that, particularly as a woman? It's a different kind of vibe that we get from men.
I think the core of that, as I see it, to me, leadership always equals people. I've seen that very clearly. And it's really understanding how to connect with the right people, how to strategically align with the right people, how to match the right timing with the right people, and then also match the ideas and their purpose and their mission all together. And that's how I always saw, my bigger vision. So to me, that's what leadership really is. However, today that I'm at the soul level, I just see lights and souls. So leadership nowadays, to me, it's helping each other, light each other up. And when someone's in the darkness, let's guide them through and be each other's mirrors so that we lead more into our light, because eventually the more light, the brighter it is. That's how we change the world. That's how we heal each other. That's how we get all the successful things that I've been chasing from that low level physical reality that I thought I was in for many years. So now leadership to me means that.
Right. And what's so interesting too is that you and I can have this conversation and I know exactly what you mean. But the beautiful thing is, in some ways, I know that truth is a little bit of a secret, because I'm not going to say to maybe my high level executives, that I see your light, I see where you're dim, this and that. It's just holding space. And it's using the woman's intuition, but in a powerful way, not in a super esoteric way. It's actually the earth energy. It's what we already know as women because we are tuned in. And I believe, and I'm curious your opinion on this, how has our culture diminished that power in women? Because I'm actually just curious about this because it's part of my new book, Elona, and because you're also a strong alpha woman like me. I believe that in some way, our society has been ramrodded over by this whole concept of healing, that trauma and healing and self-love is so important. It is absolutely imperative for us to heal and grow as a nation and as a world. However, I also believe that it's also been used as an excuse for people to serve at a higher level, that I can't date because I need to heal. I can't grow that business because I still have this healing to do. And I think in many ways it's used as an excuse. I'm just blowing the lid off this because I do believe we're in a pressing time where things are changing. And I believe that we need to be ready to go. I'd love your thoughts and opinions on this.
So we have both sides of us, right? We have the dark and we have light. When I went through a different phase where I was a couple of even months, I mean, this thing could go fast. I only saw fear and light. I mean, no, fear and love. So fear and love. And a lot of people are operating under fear, including myself. For the longest, I just couldn't figure out what was right, what was fear and what was love, because of my blocks, all the stuff that happens internally. Right now, all I see is dark and light. So because we have both of those as humans, a lot of us, I believe at our core, we are light and we want to be in the light. However, we also have the dark part of us. So a lot of us have operated, including myself, I'm realizing, for many things that I thought I was really good at, where I was a good girl. So I believe that we all have it. A lot of us subconsciously, because 95% of the stuff we do is sitting in our subconscious, which is like crazy. Because I thought, okay, I can control it all. I know my purpose. I'm doing well, and I know why I'm doing it. However, I was manipulating. I was doing a lot of things because I want to feed my ego. So no shame. We all have done it. We have abused our powers because that's what we thought we needed to do. And unfortunately, we didn't always have those soul relationships around us to take us through the darkness into the light. And we need that. We need to navigate that because it's freaking scary down there in the dark. Yeah. I had one of those sessions last night.
Well,
and
it's also like we all have it, right? And we all have the dark. It is part of us. So why isn't it that we can't just love on that too? Because in a way, isn't that the healing? Isn't it the healing that if we bring it to light, those parts where we have shame or guilt or we're not enough or what we call as ego drivers, what if we just say, well, that's okay. And we just take the heat off of it? Isn't that enough light that we know part of the darkness is imperfection and it's okay? We can still serve and heal and grow and add value and make money and fall in love and all of these things despite our imperfections?
I love where you're leading me. So no, because we have blind spots and we need other people to be our mirrors. There's no way that we can do this deep work all on our own. We need people like you, people that are in the mission. We need friends, family, partners. I'm realizing a sexual partnership is actually the highest level of elevation in this journey. So that's what I'm learning is the highest level of partnership, but no, absolutely not. We need partners. We need people to be our mirrors so that we could see ourselves and be like, dang, that's what I do. However, we trust those people because we love them. and they love us unconditionally. There has to be that level of trust so that we continue this. We cannot just do this on our own.
But we're in a culture right now of loneliness. Like, so I'm empty nested, I'm single, I'm not in a relationship. And as I've grown and elevated, I have become, the people around me have become less and less because in many ways, my discernment level has come higher where I'm really uncomfortable around mistreatment or disrespect. I grew up in a family of 11. I grew up with chaos and, you know, and I lost a brother when I was young. He was murdered. And I also lost a son to suicide. So I know trauma and I know the chaos that ensues around these things. And for me, much of that discernment has come from breaking myself free from those relationships. And now it's like, I'm that little version of me still swinging from a tree, the version of you that you shared that's picking new best friends because I just moved into a new neighborhood and the new neighborhood's me. Does that make sense?
All the way.
Hmm.
So what I've seen, because I do have that high level sexual partnership in my life, which is my life partner, my husband, for over 20 years, and that's what we're navigating together. I believe that will be the next puzzle piece that eventually will show up. I could see that for you, actually.
I'm ready for it. I've never had problems with the sexuality. I have no trauma around my sexuality because I do believe, as you say, that it is a spiritual manifestation and that we were here as people to experience pleasure and to have that deeper connection, spiritual connection in partnership. And I'm like, that is so cool. I've never had a problem with that. So I think that it took a while for me to, prepare the way for that. And I appreciate that you're going to hold me to that and hold that space for me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. You were not ready, right? It's all about timing. And that's why you knew, right? You knew as you were growing through the journey. I think you have to be ready. And when you're ready, you'll attract that.
Or
but
I'm
I
just,
think that's what it is.
Do you think it's a readiness or is there another word that's beside ready? Because when people, I don't want to use it as an excuse that I'm not ready yet. Because I don't want to shut off energy that the world will bring me, that God or the universe will bring me as far as energy. And that includes business too, right? I don't have the right funnel. I don't have the right. So I want to say I am ready and it will come when the time sets itself or something like that. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, channel into your sexual energy and you'll get the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say.
Yeah.
It's coming up for me.
Yeah.
Channel into that and you'll get the answer and you'll start to see, I'm not sure where your intuition is the highest, but like for me, I'll see and I'll know. That's how I know. For some people, they'll feel. And I think feeling is actually the strongest one, especially for this next ascension.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure of what yours is stronger. I've always been leaning into my other two.
I'm
But
auditory.
I've already attracted a match, yeah. So I mean, we're just navigating the same journey into oneness together, and that's what's strong for us. But that's kind of what I'm seeing for you, and what's coming up for you from me right now is channeling that based on your own purging or meditative or new wording here. So
Yes.
I'm also navigating it. I'm like, what do we call this? Like,
I know, isn't it so good?
Purge through the next side. Open
I know.
up, like, create that space for your openness, because obviously you know how to do it because you've been in the journey. And obviously I'm getting smarter with that myself, or wiser, I should say, not smarter, because that's still spiritual, right? And physical. So wiser to get to maturity in the level of growth so that you tap into that and then you kind of open that up. And then when you're open, you will attract the other piece.
Yeah. So I have a question. This is out of curiosity from this new awareness you have and how it translates into your business. And the reason why I'm asking you this is that oftentimes when we have this new awakening or spiritual aha, or, a big massive growth in our sense of who we are and how we show up, is that the same things don't resonate. Is there anything that you had to drop and let go of in your business that really didn't serve you?
A lot, everything, everything. So I was always a visionary. That was always strong for me. That's not changed. It's just been more sharpened. It was just more of my fear-based decisions that I was making, which I thought were the right decisions, such as chasing marketing, chasing people, being frustrated when I didn't get the right recognition or visibility, or just the acknowledgement of what I thought I was putting out there. So I would risk a lot of the hustle stuff. I would be in a hustle mode a lot of times because I'm like, okay, that's not enough. I'm not doing enough. I got to do enough. I got to do enough. And then I blocked everything for a while. And I'm like, what the heck is happening? Until obviously I broke through this and now it's all clear. And I've realigned everything, Kate, right? I mean, I'm purging every day. My calendar is different. Time is different. I'm
Excellent.
in the flow. I'm like, whatever's coming up, I have to honor. I want to honor. I don't have to. So I'm removing language also. I'm
Yes,
watching
me
it because
too.
it's coming up very like mirror. I like movie life, right? I feel like I'm the actor and I'm in a movie and I could see myself so clearly. And
Isn't
there's
it the
other
best?
layers. Yeah, oh gosh, it's amazing. I feel like this was my reward for working so hard on my personal development
Right.
for many
And I
years.
would say that just for viewers and listeners out there is just to understand if you're in a place where you have a lot of darkness and you feel like there is not the clarity for you, there are people out there. I mean, obviously, Elona and I are here as change agents and change makers to hold space. It's okay not to know. It's okay to find new people around you, because that's oftentimes what it takes is the people that you've been around, that have been around you, that you're asking questions about. They're going to start looking at you like you have three heads. And they're going to be like, why do you want more? Why aren't you happy with what you have? Why are you so weird? Why are you so obsessed? Why do you work so hard? Why do you read so much? I've heard all of this. And it's because I seek to know and to understand so that I can serve. That's why. So too bad for you people. Oh, so yeah. So if you don't mind just sharing how people can find you and what are you currently offering clients and businesses that resonate from this conversation? Where does this lead people to you for partnership?
I love that. But what's coming up for me is my podcast because we're so aligned and I've completely leveled up my, obviously everything is different. The way I create content, you just go at it from a different awareness. So I think they'll enjoy, your audience will enjoy my podcast, which we will be on for sure. So I'm excited for that conversation.
What's the name of it?
It's called the Life School Masterclass Show. And
Yes.
people can find that on the website. And that would be the next step, actually. Well, let's start dating, right? Let's see if we like each other. Let's see if we vibe, right? I think it's all step-by-step things that we get to do with one another. And that's my invite or my offer nowadays. Just let's get to know one another. And the best way to do that, it's my website. It's elonaloparicoaching.com. And I've put a lot of different resources available that are free. What's coming up for me, maybe for your audience, is the 50 most powerful intentional questions that have really led me to this transformation, and also the work I've done with people. It's a free ebook. So I think that will be maybe the next resource. The resource that I'm feeling is the next right step for the audience here. And they will also find that on the website. I just hosted everything there because as you grow through the journey, as you gather more tools and more resources, and your body of work just expands. So my website's like my home. I had to host my work there besides all the social medias, obviously.
Yeah, and we'll share certainly that in the show notes, including the podcast link and also the website and free resources. So is there anything that you'd like to end off this really beautiful time that we've had together for the audience? What would you like them to hear or know?
What's coming up for me is appreciation for you and your work, Kate. I love that I am meeting more people and I'm seeing them. Obviously, we're always there. However, when you're in the light, you get to see more light. So thank you for shining your light onto people and creating such unique spaces. And obviously, this is going to be more common. However, it's still very rare. I think it's still in the 5% of the content that's being created, of the language we're using, of the new ascension that's happening for all of us, some voluntarily, some involuntarily, but most people are feeling it. All people are feeling it, actually, because it's bigger than us anyway. So I think just appreciation for you for creating such spaces and just telling your audience or sharing the message that lean into other lights. That is your way to discover your light and ensure that your light shines brighter, and all the success you ever wanted is really on the other side of that. You are going to realize your purpose. You're going to feel connected to everything. You're going to realize your intuitive powers. You're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And let's use that for good. And let's create change and meaningful change in the world and change the world as we know it today. I think that's my message.
Good as that. Elona Lopari, I'm so appreciative of this time. I love what a surprise, what a wonderful surprise this has been for me. And I just want to thank you for sharing your light and being a powerful force of transformation right before my eyes.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yes. Thank you. And thanks to the viewers and listeners for tuning in to Master Your Life. Transformation is amazing, isn't it? And as Elona said, lean into the light, look for the light in others. And just on the other side of that is your greatest transformation and your greatest success. Take good care, all. Until next time, be well.